right, so I was gonna wait to talk about this again until after my results actually came back from my soil and water. Um, but I feel confident enough in like my own observations of the situation to be able to say that with confidence that I think most of these people, if not all of them, are crisis actors. Um, Especially now, like a month later, 8 to 10 hours away, are talking about how like there's weird like dust on things, or the clouds look weird, or the snow smells weird, or looks weird, or you can like melt it or whatever. Like, I don't know if this is like your guys' wake up call or whatever, but that's been happening for years. Like, people have been grabbing things of snow, melting it, having it smell like plastic. Like, I don't know if you people have never heard of geoengineering or, chemtrails or whatever you want to call it, that, throwing us in this like in this area of like, oh, we're all just conspiracy people talking about this for literally decades now. And now you want to like, I just feel like it's the scapegoat, like, oh, it's from the fires, oh, it's from this, oh, like, no. Yeah, it's okay. What was the excuse years ago when it was happening, like all over Arizona? Like, even Harvard did a study, or not a study, but they actually like documented that they were doing experimental spraying all over Tucson and Arizona, like ridiculous amounts of spraying, like triple what they normally were doing in the rest of the country to test out their global warming, nonsense. So yeah, none of this is new. Like, nobody should be ever drinking the tap water. But, even more now, I get it, but like my tap water is fine. I'm 20 miles north of where this happened. Yeah, I understand water travels south and maybe the air was blowing, the wind was blowing that way and whatever, but I haven't experienced any dead animals, I've collected rainwater, boiled it, smelled it, looked at it, like everything seems fine. Everything seems fine with the tap water. I mean, we'll see once results come back, and I'm about to go to East Palestine next week and get my own samples and see really what's going on, because that's what we have to do, like, because we can't trust these people. And it seems like these conspiracy channels that are thought were like, somewhat like with it are clearly not, because they're just pushing the same propaganda that the whole mainstream is pushing. And I don't see anybody saying like, hey, maybe we should be questioning this, and maybe we should be like looking at the stuff that they're showing us, like the senator guy poking fish with a stick, like practically standing in the water without a hazmat suit on, doesn't seem very concerned for his health. The EPA guy has like a jug duct taped to a stick, and he's like trying to get water out to test it. Like, you guys don't have like proper equipment to test this stuff. Like, and then like the woman who doesn't even seem upset, talking about her kids' eyes being glued shut in the morning, and respiratory issues and whatever, and that there's a train in her yard, but she doesn't at any point pan over and show the train in her yard. Like, we really don't know like any of this stuff that's going on that they're telling us to be true. Like, apparently CIA drones are falling out of the sky, and they're not, like, we don't even know if that's a recent picture or not. We don't even know, like, it's not like the guy was like, hey, come look at this, and showed the birds on the ground. He was like, look at, like, here's a picture of birds that had already fallen, and like the asphalt didn't match up with the asphalt in the picture. Like, it just didn't even look like the same asphalt or whatever, or blacktop or whatever it's called. And then like, what else? God, there's so many of them that are just fishy. Like, everything that these people, like the fish, for example, speaking of fishy, like somebody could have just thrown some dead fish in there and been like, here, yeah, take a photo shoot, like whatever. They're also I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I will be the first person to admit that I was wrong, and I'm a jerk for questioning it. But it's in my nature to be skeptical of all of these things, and everybody should be, knowing their history and how much they've lied to us. And if you've done your history, you've done your research over the past 50 years, they've been poisoning us. So this isn't new information. This is all like, I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying we shouldn't get upset about it, whatever, but let's think about what their next move is, and think about covering yourself and getting your own private lab result test, like, on file, not associated at all with them, And I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of at this point right now, because I really feel like they're going to be coming for people's property next and trying to move people to the smart cities and tell everybody that everything is too toxic to live, and oh, look at all these videos and these whatever, and if we can prove in court that like that's not the case, then we actually have a case against them. But as of right now, if we're just buying into it, there's just going to be a ton of people like, oh yeah, let me get out of here, I'll get on the first train out of here. And you know, if that's you, like, good luck to you, whatever. But I mean, this is the best land in the country for growing things, and there's a reason why, like, they're doing this right now, and we need to be looking at all of the angles and not just buying everything hook, line, and sinker, every person that puts out a video. I mean, don't believe me either. Like, you know, I do your research on me. I don't care. Like, I'm not even trying to push a channel or do anything. Like when I get my results back, I'm fine with sending it to, you know, I'll show it on here, whatever. But I'm not going to sit here and edit a bunch of videos and show all the numerous examples of them, of this stuff not making sense. You know, like, of all of these people, like, posting all of these videos about stuff that in New York and stuff a month later. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. None of it is adding up. None of it's making sense. There was a woman in Illinois that, you know, somebody was claiming she was in Ohio in the video, but when you do your digging, she was actually in Illinois, and she was having some weird flare-up issue, like, I don't know what's happening to me. Like, she looked overweight. She could have been, you know, really unhealthy. She could have been on some weird medications. She could have just gotten, you know, boosted. Like, there's, you know, a lot of things that seem to all just be getting blamed on this now instead of like what's been happening. So I'm just saying, use discernment, and yeah, peace.